Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. Before I get into it, please like and share. Uh, just because, YouTube have been stifling my plays. I've actually had views on the stats go backwards. As in, one day they'll say, I'll say, for example, you've had, 1,000 plays on this video. And then the next day, it says, oh no, you've only got 800 plays in the video. And Spotify do something a little similar. They've been hassling me about just subscribers, pushing everyone into becoming subscribers. So I've been pushing back a little, trying to, but I've had to make it that some videos are subscriber only. So I'll release all the videos, and then after a few days, I'll move it over to a subscriber section. With the subscriber for the podcast, it is only 99 cents a month. I just went for the cheapest option, but that is what I've had to be doing. But by the looks of it, it's stopped them from banning some of my content. So we've got to talk about the Paris Olympics. Now, obviously, they've started off with it's been a bit of a farce at the start. It's absolutely disgusting what they did with the opening ceremony. It's just foul, foul. If you've seen some of the footage, I was going to talk about it, but I didn't want to put some of the pictures up. I mean, there was a chap there, and it looked like he had his genitalia out on a world stage, and he was up there on the stage for the opening ceremony, and he's all dressed up in his kinky drag, whatever heck outfit it was. And a couple of other, if you haven't seen it, it looks like he's got all his testicles hanging out. I mean, and there's a child nearby. Looks like a child. Absolutely disgusting. These are the woke Olympics. Anyway, so I've basically just decided, well, I'm just not going to watch the Olympics. So I'm just going to boycott it. I think it's feral, foul, disgusting. But hey, look at this other news that's come up about the boxing and what they've decided to do with the boxing. It's just blows your mind. I don't understand how they can decide or what they're thinking, but the International Olympic Committee, absolutely no idea. And their reasoning behind this, I just think, well, it's crazy, crazy. Okay, so the Daily Telegraph has said that Paris Olympics 2024 XY factor puts games in turmoil. And then they go on to say, okay, everyone competing in the women's category is complying with the eligibility criteria. This is what the Olympics IOC spokesman Mark Adams has said. Everyone competing. And what is the category? What's the eligibility? So here it is. They are women in their passports, and it's stated that is the case. They are female. That's all you have to do. Now, look, we know that here in Queensland, I did an episode on this when Shannon Fentiman, when she was the minister for women in Queensland, and she made the announcement that, hey, if you say you're a female, well, then you are female, and everyone must believe you. And then they changed the rules around and said, well, you don't even have to have an operation. You don't have to do anything. You can literally just decide one day you're going to be female. You can go in and get it changed on your birth certificate, and everyone must recognize you as being female. That's how ridiculous it is. Absolutely ridiculous. You can just decide, yep, I'm going to be a female, and that's all there is to it. So there's this outrage. So the Toronto Sun has reported decision to allow Olympic boxers who fail gender test to compete causes outrage. So what they've done, so the IOC, International Olympic Committee's decision to allow Algeria's Iman Khalif and Taiwan's Lin Yuting to compete in the Paris Summer Games has drawn significant backlash. Iman. Oh, Iman. Yeah, he looks like a man too. And Taiwan's Lin Yiting. Lin Yiting. Lin Yiting's hanging out. The International Olympic Committee seemingly has picked a fight with some very tough customers. It says the IOC's decision on Tuesday to allow Algeria's Iman and anyway, I'll go down. So Khalif and Lin failed to meet gender eligibility tests at last year's Women's World Boxing Championships in New Delhi, prompting the International Boxing Association, the IBA, the people who deal with boxing all the time, they've disqualified them last year. But they have been cleared to compete in the women's 66 kilograms and women's 57 kilograms tournaments in Paris this week. So the president of the IBA alleged that the boxers' chromosome tests came back as XY. XY. XY means you're a male, it says here, which is typically a male trait. Typically. Based on DNA tests, we identified a number of athletes who tried to trick their colleagues into posing as women. IBA President Umar Kremlev told Russia's TASS news agency at the time. According to the results of the test, it was proved that they have XY chromosomes. Such athletes were excluded from competition. Now, I don't know if you know this, but men can hit up to 2.6 times harder than women. That's what, when you see these movies, they're showing the women hitting blokes and the blokes getting knocked back. It's a load of rubbish. I've done a little bit of, obviously, when I was at the academy, you do grappling and fighting and that, being male and females. You could get a 65 kilo woman, and then a 65 kilo male. You have to wrestle both of them, one after each other. They both might weigh the same, but you can feel a difference when you're fighting them. The bloke obviously has a lot more strength. Now, I've done a little bit of boxing, a little bit of sparring. It's the same thing. You box against a bloke, even if he's only 65 kilos, his punch is a lot harder, and a lot faster than a woman who's the same weight. Even if she has been training, even if she is a bit more fitter, she might be a better boxer, she might be more talented, but her punch is way less effective, nowhere near as hard, doesn't cause as much damage. And you can see that if you've seen any of the fights with these fellas, wow, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, look, so based on DNA tests, he says they've come up with this. So according to Reuters, Khalif also was found to have a high level of testosterone. You got XY chromosomes and high testosterone, you're a bloke. Khalif and Lin both have only competed as women, and there's no indication that either identifies as transgender. So maybe there's a bit of a mix-up. Maybe they've just got who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's something, and they don't realize. But when you see these when you see these two individuals, like you see them standing there, they look like men. You wouldn't. I don't see how you would see them in the street and think, "Oh, that's a good-looking chick." You look at them walking along, you think they look like blokes. They move like blokes. They walk like blokes. They handle themselves like blokes. They got faces like men. The two boxers were allowed to participate at the games due to less strict gender eligibility rules. It's really anyway. So look, Australian boxer has slammed Olympic Games for controversial call. So Caitlin Parker, she's an Australian boxer. She's at the Olympics now. She's not happy. Okay, Caitlin Parker believes the Olympics' approval of two boxers who had failed gender eligibility tests is incredibly dangerous. It is dangerous. Ahead of a potential showdown with one of her teammates in Paris. She's led from the front on Wednesday, dominating Mexico's Vanessa Ortiz with a unanimous points decision. I was going to share this with you so you can see the photos. You can see the pictures of her. So this is Caitlin Parker. She is the Australian boxer. Okay, now, look, she's a fairly solid-looking girl, but looks like a female, funny enough. You're not going to look at her. I don't think you would ever look at her, no matter how solid or, trim, how in shape she gets. I think you'll always look at her and think, female. Okay, that's Caitlin. Now, this is Lin Yuting. Lin Yuting, look at that face. It just looks like a man. Looks like a man. You see him walking around in the boxing ring. It's a bloke. It's like no. And this is the other fella. Sorry, the other person. Algeria's Iman Khalif. Again, just looks like a bloke. Just that's all. So Parker said she doesn't agree with them being allowed to compete in sport, especially combat sport. It can be incredibly dangerous. It's not like I haven't sparred men before, but it can be dangerous for combat sports and it should be seriously looked into. This is the kind of craziness going on in our society, and people barely bat an eyelid at it these days. On all you people out there, especially all you women out there who want to think you're doing the right thing by supporting transgender people. Now, if an adult wants to do that, I'm not in favor of it, but you're an adult and it's your decision. As an adult, never as a child. As an adult, it's your decision. I think you've got a mental health issue, okay? And I think you need help. But if you're an adult and that's what you want to do, become a transgender, whatever, okay, well, that's your choice to make. However, you don't get to then go and compete in the sport for the opposite sex. It's not fair to women. It's not fair to women's sports. Don't turn around and say that you support women's sports, but then you want to allow transgender people compete against other women. It's not fair on biological, actual, real women. And it's dangerous, especially dangerous when it comes to combat sports. But this is the society that we're in now. Everyone wants to support. Everyone wants to. They think they're doing the right thing by being inclusive, but you're not. By trying to be inclusive of everyone, you end up excluding other people, and you make it dangerous for some people. You make it dangerous for the fairer sex. So now all we have is these blokes invading women's sports, making it dangerous for them. Look, I just believe this is craziness, but this is what happens when you have a society that denies God, denies creation, embraces evolution, embraces paganism, embraces this woke ideology that, you can be whatever you want to be. Cut off your junk as a child. Don't think anything of it. If that's what you think today, well, then that doesn't matter. And they don't care. They don't consider the consequences of the future. But this is what happens in a society that denies God and pushes God away and says, no, I want to be God. I am God. I am my own God. I can do whatever I want to do. You end up with men punching women in the head and gaining recognition for it. Crazy, crazy times. Anyway, I'm Jay Fallon. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
And say it isn't real. And please don't go away. Just give me one more day. What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could unbreak your heart, and we could start again. What if I could turn back time? I'd make you smile again. And if I could